Hello and welcome back. If you are new to my channel, my name is Lindie and I make videos about language learning, productivity, mindset, and everything in between. So subscribe if you want to see more videos about generally languages, because that's what my life revolves around. Alrighty, today we are going to talk about finding a language tutor, what you need to look out for in finding a good language tutor that works with you and can help you learn a language comfortably and effectively. And be sure to watch to the end because I have 2 bonus tips on how you can be the best student for that teacher. Before we begin, if you are wondering, should I be completely self-study or should I find a teacher? I do have a video about should you take language classes or should you self-study. So the video is up here if you want to take a look at that. But if you are here thinking, all right, I'm ready for a tutor, but what do I need to look for? You have come to the right place. So let us dive straight in and begin. The first thing you want to look for, we're doing a lot more things online, and part of that is finding tutors to teach us languages online. We're not necessarily going to classes. And now the power is kind of in our hands to decide now who are we going to book lessons with. There's a number of websites you can find language tutors on. My favorite is italki. This video is not sponsored by them, but I use them multiple times a week. In the description is a link you can use to sign up for italki if you would like to get $10 free lesson credits after booking your first lesson. So do check that out. But there are other websites as well, like Verbling. I did a full review of Verbling over here. And of course there's Language Exchange. There are multiple different websites and platforms where you can find language partners as well as serious language tutors. That's not the point of this video. Now let's talk about what you need to look for when you're getting a tutor. Number 1, their personality and their charisma. Most language learning websites require tutors to put an introduction video. So the first thing I did when I was booking my Hungarian tutor was look through the list of available Hungarian tutors on italki and watch all of their videos and then decide who do I feel like I could be comfortable around. Obviously you can't know that if you haven't really spoken to the person, but a video is a good indication of their tone of voice, the speed at which they talk, if they are, very bubbly and chatty, or if they're quite monotonous and mellow. So just find somebody who you think you can be comfortable connecting with. I am an introvert and sometimes it takes me a while to warm up to somebody. So if they're coming across like very all over the place and bubbly, I might be a little more, drawn back. My Hungarian teacher speaks very slowly, and I know that Hungarian is a very difficult language for me, so finding someone who is slow and calm and patient was one of my criteria for finding a tutor. So the number 1 thing you need to do before you book a lesson or a trial lesson is to watch their videos and see who makes you feel comfortable at the first impression. A tip that I have is to book a trial lesson. Trial lessons are either always free or very, very cheap, and it's just like maybe half an hour to get to know the tutor and have a quick lesson with them. It is completely fine to not book lessons after your trial lesson. That is the point of a trial lesson. You are seeing, is this somebody I can learn from? So don't be shy. If your lesson goes haywire and you just did not enjoy it, that's okay. It's life. Don't book a lesson with them. I had a trial lesson with a French tutor a few months ago, and we just did not connect. He spoke so much English, and I just didn't feel like it was the right tutor for me. But I'm very glad I booked a trial lesson so that at the end I could be like, thank you so much for your time. I'm not sure this is the type of teacher-student dynamic I'm looking for, and I'm just going to continue my search, and that's fine. Other thing you need to look for is how prepared the tutor is. So it's okay to change your tutor after you've booked a package and you don't want to continue. Now this also depends on the type of lesson you book. You can get conversational lessons where the teacher will not come with any documents to go through with you. It is just you talking. So obviously it doesn't count for conversational lessons. But if you are taking structured lessons or grammar lessons or focusing on a particular skill, obviously you need a tutor who is prepared, someone who will send you the documents, someone who will give you homework, will follow up. So keep a close eye on how well prepared they seem for your lessons. The other thing I like to look out for is how does the tutor correct my mistakes? Do they interrupt me while I'm talking, or do they wait till the end of the sentence, or do they give me a very long time to think on my own? There are these like 3 extremes. So let's talk about those quickly. I have a tutor who interrupts me every time I make a mistake. And the language I'm referring to, I'm quite a beginner in, so I make a lot of mistakes. So I'll start reading a sentence and I'll be like on the second word and they will interrupt me and correct it for me. And I've realized that I've kind of created this mindset for myself that speaking this language equals making mistakes, because every time I open my mouth, they will fix my mistake. Apart from that, they are a wonderful tutor. They are so prepared. I love their lessons. But I realize I've made this connection with this language that I'm becoming scared to speak because I'm associating it with they're going to correct me right away. Of course, I want my mistakes to be corrected, but I would much prefer if they waited until I've tried or waited until the end of a sentence to correct me. I like to get corrections in a full sentence or a phrase, not every single word. Because just the way my brain and my ears work, I like to listen to a whole phrase, and especially if it's a tonal language, really listen to how that entire phrase sounds. So getting someone who interrupts you at each word is also not very effective for me. And then on the other extreme, it's when you have a tutor who really wants to encourage you to think for yourself. This is particularly prevalent in conversational classes, when you just can't find a word, you don't know what the word is, and you're trying to come up with a word or talk around it. These kinds of tutors will wait for you to find the word or find a way to talk around it. That is also good. I like being given the time to think and really push myself and be like, wow, I don't know this word, but let me try and express myself, instead of them immediately giving me the word. However, that can be frustrating for some people. But if that's not your style, if you want somebody who can help you immediately when you're stuck, then be sure that the tutor you are with is somebody whose correction style works with your learning style. Something else to look out for is accountability. Does this teacher follow up? Do they ask you questions related to the previous lesson? Are they giving you homework? And are they correcting your mistakes? There are some people who are purely just there to be conversational partners. And I find that even though you are in a conversational lesson, it's always nice to have somebody who is checking up on you. So my Spanish teacher, even though we just have conversation lessons, at the end of the lesson, they go through the vocabulary that we talked about and they say, okay, I'm gonna say the word in Spanish and you tell me the meaning in English. And that just shows me they are invested in my vocabulary growth and my growth as a student. Even though their job is just to talk to me, they're still going a little bit of an extra step and giving me a mini quiz. My Vietnamese tutor is excellent in giving me a lot of homework, sometimes too much, but she goes the extra mile to record the vocabulary words on a voice note for me so I can listen to it, and she encourages me to record my homework as well so she can check my pronunciation. So look for someone who goes above and beyond helping you grow. Something else you can look out for, this is a nice to have, not necessarily something that can disqualify a tutor, but somebody who is also teachable. So I used to tutor languages as well, and I grew as much as my students did. So I learned how to teach people. What is the best way to be patient, to give homework, to interact with your students? And I kind of let my students dictate that to some extent as well. I see what works for them, what do they enjoy, what do they not. So if you find a tutor who's asking you, hey, how do you like to learn? What's the best way I can make this lesson comfortable for you? That's a really, really good sign. Another thing is looking for somebody who is on time. I am not going to mention the language, but there is something strange that happens to tutors of a specific language on italki, and a few of my friends know what I'm talking about, but there's a collection of language tutors who are always notoriously late for their lessons, and that's just really frustrating because you feel like you are wasting your money and wasting your time. Unfortunately, it is the internet, this happens, but if this is happening way too much and you're like, well, I'm never gonna get my lesson done because my tutor is always late, don't book more lessons with them, find somebody else. So someone, even though they are a casual or community tutor, they still need to be professional and on time because you are paying for this. Then another thing that is really important is location and time. If you are learning a language like Spanish, for instance, you need to choose a dialect that you want to learn. I know that I want to learn Mexican Spanish because I'm very interested in Mexico as a country. I have lots of Mexican friends, And I find the Mexican accent a little easier for me. I can roll my R's, and the Spanish accent is a little trickier for me. So I was like, okay, I know that Mexican Spanish is the way to go. Let me find tutors who specifically teach Mexican Spanish. This can apply to if you are learning English. Are you learning American, British, South African, or Australian English? Find a tutor who speaks the accent that you are looking for. And then the other thing is time. Does this tutor have a schedule that works with yours? When you book a lesson, you can see the teacher's schedule as well, and you can check their time zone and how that correlates with yours. My Spanish tutor is only available very late Singapore time, but because I enjoy their lessons so much, I'm okay to stay up an hour later every Monday, Tuesday. Monday is Hungarian. I'm okay to stay a little, Anyway, I'm okay to stay up a little later because I really get value from their lessons. So you might need to make a few sacrifices here and there, but if you're just looking for a tutor from the start, find someone obviously who fits within your time zone. And last but not least, their ratings. italki has a very good rating system for tutors, and you can read what other people have said. I also like to see how many lessons this teacher has done. If they've done hundreds of lessons, I know that they are a trusted tutor in the community. If they've done 1 or 2 and their ratings are low, I'm gonna be a little skeptical and wary. So take a look at what people are saying and how many lessons they've done as well. Okay, now we are at the 2 bonus tips on how you can be a better student. Number 1 is prepare some questions or topics you want to talk about beforehand. This applies specifically to conversation classes. If you are really interested in football or cooking, try to get some vocabulary and write some sentences beforehand and say that to your tutor. I do this a lot with Hungarian. I know I'm still a beginner, so what I like to do is write out some sentences before, and then I can say it to my tutor, and I know that they will correct my grammar or talk about that topic further. It helps you avoid any awkward silences. The teacher might bring something up that you might not be interested, for instance. You are paying for this lesson. If it's a conversational lesson, you can help drive the topic of the conversation by being prepared. And the second thing is to do your homework. We are so busy. This is not like a top tip of like magic information, but it's really something that I needed to be reminded of as well. I get a lot of homework from my Vietnamese tutor, and sometimes it's just too much to do. So if you are finding that there's way too much homework, just discuss it with your tutor and say, hey, I have a really busy week. Could I just do this or this? The point is you still need to do something because they are there willing to help you. So do your homework. That is my second top tip. Even though that sounds really obvious, we still need a bit of a reminder. Okay, if you are wondering more about italki specifically, I have an article on my blog about how to get the most out of italki. Again, this is not sponsored, it's just a platform that I like using a lot. So the blog link will be below in the description. And I also have another blog post about how to find a language partner that works for you. So if you reach the end of this video and you're like, I don't know if I really want to do tutoring, I just want a casual language exchange partner, I will link the post on language exchange below as well. Alright, that is it from my side. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!